All right, everyone. Welcome to International Society of Cannabis Pharmacists, our first annual meeting. Now, if you guys know, we are currently voting for our 2020-2022 Board of Directors. And I'm going through our bylaws and I noticed like, wow, we're supposed to have an annual meeting since we've incorporated. So we're a little late to the game, but I'm so glad you guys were able to join on a little short notice. We have a little bit of an agenda here. We're going to talk about some board of director and committee updates, and then we're going to open the floor for an open forum if anybody wants to share anything. Again, really relaxed, just to kind of get a feel of what the association is up to, what we're doing, and where we're going from here. So as a reminder, our mission is to unify the pharmacy profession on the subject of cannabis in support of public health. As pharmacists, we are the public health leaders, the most accessible healthcare professional. So it's really important that we understand the role of cannabis, whether it's providing evidence-based recommendations, connecting our thought leaders, pharmacists with other industry leaders, and of course supporting our patients and communities. So some updates that we've had, again, we've incorporated officially July 2017 in the state of Oregon. And we've since changed our name this year. We changed from American International. And so now our new abbreviation is ISCPh. But whenever I send out emails, you might notice it says Cannabis Pharmacist. So really branding that we are the Cannabis Pharmacists. Not that we're trying to petition BPS to make a certification just yet, but maybe. So then the other thing is that we changed our main website. So you can still get to our website through ASCPh.org or ISCPh.org, but now cannabispharmacist.org is the other way. And I think the easiest way to remember, as well as tell all your friends and colleagues about it. And so here's our current board of directors. We are supposed to have up to 10, but Thomas Dania had to leave us. So we got Esther Kim to replace as vice president. And we're up, this was our last quarter that we're gonna meet. And our voting for 2020-2022 has now opened. So if you haven't voted already, go to our website, cannabispharmacist.org. At the bottom, it'll say voting for board of directors. And then you can pick which ones. You only have to pick the ones that have somebody running. So like only Esther Kim signed up for vice president for next year. So for I think treasurer and just general board members, those positions are now open and eligible for voting. So definitely check it out. And if you are a nominee, don't forget to share this with your friends and colleagues because only active members can vote. It's part of our bylaws. So looking at our position statements, this is something that our board of directors, put together. It's on our website. If you go hover over the resources tab, you'll see position statements first and foremost. And the first two we created, requiring mandatory education is kind of a no-brainer. You can't really expect healthcare professionals to be on the same page if we're not learning about it. And then for our institutional policies, this was really in response to having all these medical conditions or qualifying medical conditions that affect pediatrics as well as our geriatric populations. And their institutions don't provide any policy. And we firmly believe that no policies lead to diversion, inappropriate use, that whole gamut. So then the last position statement, and we're actually looking to get this published. So if you guys know anyone, want to recommend anyone, I've got my eye on Pharmacy Times or Drug Topics, but we're looking to get our labeling recommendations published. So something that's really important to our organization is that we standardize cannabis as a medicine. And in order to do that, we all have to speak the same language. So one of the things that we took out was strain names. We don't believe that medicine should be so finicky in the sense of a blue dream here is not a blue dream there. So if you haven't looked at our labeling recommendations, I highly recommend it. And if you're totally new to the cannabis world, it might be a little overwhelming, but try to look at it from a pharmacy perspective, recommending concentrations over ratios, things that we use inherently in all of pharmacy practice. Cannabis is no different. Next, what we did was our student societies. So we have some bylaws posted to our website. So if any new student organization wants to get started, they can kind of start from there, work their way through it. Our first one will be University of Pittsburgh, and their acronym will be ISCPh. So if you are a faculty administrator, adjunct faculty member, you can sponsor. But you do need to find 5 students that are interested in joining, and they need to have some executive roles. So like president, treasurer, secretary, check out the bylaws. And we are accepting new societies. Usually universities will require just a couple months notice. Some of them require a full year. So I do recommend, check in with your alma mater, see if they're interested. It's free. So why not get the word out there? And then we're just scooting right along. I'm so excited. We're gonna have so much time for open forum. So next will be our committee updates. And you might have seen a lot of these in our newsletters, and that's how we've traditionally updated our membership. Something that we're gonna change is that there's gonna be 2 newsletters coming out each month. So there's gonna be one for like everyone, because we have like 700 people that sign up for our newsletter, and you'll find we probably have 250 members. So we have more people that are subscribing to our updates, and a lot of the things we mentioned may not be relevant to them, or maybe we don't want them to know. So in order to facilitate member-wide communication, we are going to have a separate newsletter for members. So be on the lookout for that. That'll probably start in January of next year. And then we are currently accepting new committee members. So we originally put a cap at 10 members per committee, just to kind of keep things tight and organized. But we're finding that a lot of people can't make the meetings. And so just being able to open up for anyone that's interested, if you want to join a patient quality and patient safety committee, or if you're interested to know what we're doing in education and professional development, just send us an email. We can add you to the listserv, and that way you'll get the emails. I know a lot of people haven't been using the Slack, myself included, and that's okay. We're still working out the kinks, and we're also looking at developing some type of platform on our website so that we can kind of communicate more effectively, more efficiently. So looking at our current membership stats, we have, as of today, 205 pharmacists. We also have 3 non-pharmacist members. And just so you guys know, non-pharmacists are not able to vote. So basically, they're supporting our mission and vision. Maybe they're our advisors. Our advisors have to be members in order to be part of our organization. But they can't vote for like our board of directors or any voting materials, again, in our bylaws, which I believe we should post to our website, but we'll find out. Looking at our student members, we have 35 total, most of which are volunteers. So if you haven't looked at our website, I should probably tag, I'm gonna make a note of this, tagging what our students are doing. They come together to create a lot of our articles. So some of them have written about contamination and drug recalls, again, specific to cannabis. And then the other thing that they can do is help us organize events. They can also help with slide management. I know a few of them we had re-edit all of our continuing education stuff, which is tedious. So thank you to our volunteers. And then last but not least, we do have 12 state representatives, and I have a whole slide just to kind of give them a big thank you. But I think the biggest change in our membership is that we have a new joint membership feature with ISCPh, so ASCAP. This is the American Society of Consultant Pharmacists. And if you have an active cannabis pharmacist membership, you can use that 125 you spent to get 125 off of ASCAP. So it's about 50% off, which I don't think they have any other discount deal like that. And they have a lot, I mean, they've been around for 50 years. So they're a very well established pharmacist organization. We're very glad to be a part with them. And so let's move it on along here. We got our state representatives, 12 states currently. So if you don't see your state on here and you want to be the go-to person when people call, have questions or emails, or if you're interested in organizing local events, we have funding to create networking events, and we want to bring our members together. I was just in Massachusetts, and I remember I reached out to all of our members. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in Massachusetts and Boston. Who can reach out or who can meet up? And, half of them are like, we are literally on the opposite side of the state. And I'm like, well, how big is Mass? They're like 3 hours without traffic. So I am not the expert of your state, but you might be. And I'd love to connect you with other members, not only for networking opportunities, but to strengthen, the role of the pharmacist in cannabis. One thing I did want to mention, this is something we found out recently. We've been having an issue with our website. So anybody that registered before May of this year, when your membership auto-renews, it auto-renews, and then either that day or a couple days later, it'll just cancel. And it doesn't just cancel future recurring payments, it cancels your entire membership. We can go in and fix that. We just have to be kind of aware that it's happening. We do get an email when a membership is canceled, but we don't know if it was automatically canceled or you're just not interested anymore. I hope it's the former. What you can do is send us an email. We can either send, create a calendar reminder. We'll send you a notice when, or an invoice when it's time to renew. You don't need to set up your whole account again. You just got to go through the PayPal steps. And then again, we have some members that just prefer to send us a paper check or go through Venmo. So just let us know what you prefer and we can accommodate. But we're still working out the kinks and we definitely appreciate your patience. Our next committee is Education and Professional Development. So we do a few things with EPD. The first things we've ever done was our journal clubs. So we had Journal Club 1 and 2 back in 2018. And then in this year, we've already had 8. And I was supposed to update this slide with our next one. It is going to be with Stacy from McLean. I'm going to check my email later to tell you, but check our website. It'll be posted on there. Stacy Gruber, I believe is her last name, but she does some really cool brain scans with like functional MRIs before and after cannabis use. And it's kind of cool to see the changes there. Again, not my specialty. Drugs are our specialty. So it's good to have that insight from a professional. And she will be the principal author. So we always try to get the principal authors to join us. And all of these journal clubs are recorded. They're posted to our website, as well as available on YouTube. So check it out if you haven't already. They're pretty short, 35, 40 minutes, unless we kind of get on a tangent like we did with vape-related illness. Our next series for EPD is our patient case report series. This came out because we have some members that are actively working in dispensaries and others that are working in hospitals or nursing homes, and they don't have that understanding of how finicky cannabis medicine can be. It's more of an art than a science. And so being able to provide actual patient cases of what we did to create that relief, and give some background into the disease state and how the cannabinoids can work. So we've had 3 so far. The first one was complex regional pain syndrome. The second was PTSD with yours truly. And the third was Ehlers-Danlos syndrome with Dr. Esther Kim. So all of our board members have done one of these, but if you've got an interesting patient case report that you remember, as long as you take out any specific patient identifiers, we would love to share it with our team. Usually they take about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So it's a quick in-depth look on that disease state, and then we take it from there. Again, these are posted to our website. And if you hover over the resources tab, this will be something under the members only content. Last but certainly not least is our Inside the Cannabis Industry series. So this is looking at novel roles for pharmacists in the cannabis industry. The first one we did was clinical consultants. So this is looking at pharmacists that have their own company and they are getting paid to provide cannabis recommendations to patients. Most of them are doing, I actually see one of them's on the call. Most of them are doing MTM. So we have, a basic MTM where you do your typical drug therapy problems and medication action plan. And then there's like an advanced or expanded one where they'll also provide cannabis recommendations. We just added something to our website. So again, if you hover over the resources tab, one of the first points will be cannabis consultants or clinical cannabis consultants. So if you are a cannabis consultant, let us know. We can update our website, add you there. We don't charge anything for it. And And we also don't accept liability, so it's all on you. The second inside the cannabis industry was on testing and analytics. We have a few members that actually own testing sites or testing facilities, excuse me. And so I truly see them as the experts. So if I ever get questions, I kind of funnel people around. The next one I'm thinking of doing, I just have to find another researcher, is finding researchers in cannabis. I think I know of 2. My goal is to find 3, but I will accept 2 if needed. And again, these we usually do not very often, but I think they are interesting, especially as more and more pharmacists are looking for outside the retail role and any other non-traditional component to pharmacy. So if you are interested or you have something you'd like to present, let us know, info@cannabispharmacist.org. And then this is something we're working on. I just got our final approval today that we have officially booked our hotel. So this is like the most exciting thing I've been doing lately. But we have this conference that we're planning for August 2020 in Denver, Colorado. It's going to be at the Gaylord Rockies, which if you haven't been to the Gaylord, it is gorgeous. And it's going to be 16 hours of CE. So as a member, you have the choice. If you want to come on down, we'd love to host you in Denver. Otherwise, it will also be available live streaming as well as on demand. And the idea is that we're going to have you guys do these 16 hours. I'm going to do it too, don't worry. And then once you complete the hours, you are then eligible for your competency exam. I don't feel like just doing a certificate of completion is enough to be able to say to the Board of Pharmacy and further that, pharmacists are able to be in a pharmacist-led dosing model effectively and safely. And so we're developing this competency exam. If you're interested, we do need speakers and we do need question development. So all of those opportunities will be opening up shortly. I believe registration will open up in January, but hopefully sooner if we can figure everything out. I'm hoping to get a lot of sponsorships. So if you guys know cannabis, if you guys know pharmacy, we will take those recommendations and use them. So be on the lookout for that. Again, if you're not getting our newsletters in your email, if you type in Cannabis Pharmacist updates and you don't see anything, be sure to visit our website and scroll down to the bottom, or just send us an email and we can manually add you. It takes literally 2 seconds for us and we don't mind. Okay, so some updates on continuing education. We have our cannabinoids and compassionate care. That was released when we hit 100 pharmacist members earlier this year. So we're definitely growing at an exponential rate. And that's still free for all of our members. So you have until February, so do it now if you haven't. It's 2 hours and I think it does a great job. I was in it, but it does a great job of explaining the backgrounds and the basics to cannabis medicine as a symptomatic improvement. We also have clinical quality and safety considerations of medical cannabis. This is 3 hours, a lot more intensive. And it is a reduced price of $25 for members, like $60 for non-members. So use your membership. This will be available until April 15th of next year. And then the last one I can mention, this is something we also just got approved. It's the Cannabis Considerations in Pediatrics. So this will be held live on 12/23 next month. And then of course it will be available on demand as well. So until 12/22/2020. So all that to look forward to. And again, pick a good weekend. I'm in Minnesota, so all that snow is coming out and I'm landlocked. But if you guys have time, if you want to make time, check it out. And again, these are on our website as well. So clinical practice and research, this is the committee I chair, so I can tell you what we're doing. We have a few things that we're drafting. The first is a research article on therapeutic considerations of cannabis and geriatrics, really looking at the role for cannabis more than just, nabilone and dronabinol and nabiximols, but also looking at, what we can do and understanding the underlying mechanism. So again, one of the big things in there is institutional policy and holding. It's something that we hold near and dear to our hearts, and it's really important. So next part is the basic dosing principles. So you may have heard me say, we need to standardize this as a medicine if we're going to, have this available for interstate commerce. So besides creating labeling standards, we're going to create dosing principles. And, it's under this idea that everybody responds differently. So just being able to provide the proper recommendations. This is something we're going to post for free on our website. And if you're interested in participating, let us know, CPR committee. Last but not least, we are now officially eligible to apply for federal grants. So that took like 2 months, but we are officially green light. We have the green light to proceed. One of the things we're looking at are NIDA's grant recommendations, specifically looking at reasons for initiation and discontinuation. There's other things that we're trying to do, but we're not, as a pharmacist society, we're not in a dispensary, we're not affiliated with a product or manufacturer. So what we're really trying to do is focus on the public health role. So for those of you that have research experience, we'd love to have you join this committee. Or if you don't and you'd want to get published, check it out. We're always open to new members. So just as a reminder, this is our vision, that cannabis is medicine and we as pharmacists are the medication experts. And so being able to standardize this as a medicine, being able to teach our doctors, our nurses, patients, and other pharmacists, that's really why we're here as ISCPh. So with that, I now can open it up to the floor. There's 2 ways that we can do open forum. We can do it via chat, or we can do it if you want to unmute yourself. I thought there's a way to kind of put your little hand up, but we'll see. I'm not finding that when I'm kind of looking through it. Do you guys know how to unmute yourselves in case you do want to say something? And also, I see some people that are on our board of director nominees. Don't use this as a time to solicit. Perfect. Sarah's giving us some updates. If you scroll into the name panel, you can unmute in the upper right-hand corner. On my screen, I have like this bar and there's like a microphone looking thing. And if it's muted, there's a red line through it. So just click that. You'll be able to unmute yourself. I'm not worried if we don't have any open forum thoughts. I thrive on silence. I basically work in a telemedicine job. Oh, I think Dr. Hussar has unmuted himself, but just temporarily. I'm not going to call anyone out. Don't worry.
I have a question if you can hear me.
Absolutely.
This is Jill Simonian from San Diego. And I am wondering if you have anything you can share as far as curriculum to introduce into pharmacy schools, to how to structure it, because I may be able to institute an elective at our local pharmacy school. And I was wondering if there was any format that has been developed already.
Yeah, so one of the first things we did when we started ISCPh, well, at the time ASCPh, was we partnered with our alma mater. So myself and Dr. Christine Roussel both graduated from the University of the Sciences in Philadelphia. And we were able to convince them, and this was at a time when cannabis just became legal as a medicine. So we were able to convince them that they need to have this course. And we didn't do it for the students until the next year. We originally just did it for healthcare professionals, so doctors, nurse practitioners, pharmacists, anybody that would be working in the dispensary. We didn't do it through the association just because we put like dozens of hours into creating all that content. But if you check out any of our CE materials right now, what they really do is give you a breakdown of what's important, starting with the endocannabinoid system and then the phytocannabinoids, and then, looking at formulations or dosing for those formulations. All of that, in my opinion, is a pharmacist's specialty. So being able to extrapolate, okay, if you're inhaling something, obviously it's going to have a quicker onset of action. That's something that requires, enteric absorption. So try to find, and again, when you're dealing with pharmacy schools, not that I have anything against them, besides we have too many, it's being careful that, you're not putting our students at risk. We always have to make a point, like, we are not advocating for cannabis use. That is not what we're doing. We're advocating for education. And that's kind of the difference and why we can keep our tax exempt status. So I hope that answers some of your questions. And, we do have a group on LinkedIn. I don't know if you want to partner with any other local pharmacists that are in the area. I think you said San Diego.
Right. Yeah. UCSD.
Excellent. So if there's any other alumni that would be interested, I think the alumnus have like the best chance of getting in to the school through the CE or even just through the faculty department. But again, just being clear on what your goals are for that course, I think that will greatly help you figure out if they want it. Hopefully they do.
All right. I'll let you know.
Melanie and Jill, this is Pam. Jill and I already connected that we're both in California, and I've got some ideas too, and we're only a couple of hours away, so we'll connect. And
yes,
got some ideas for you on that.
Okay.
I don't want to brag, but Pam is our California state rep. So if you guys...
And I would love to do that.
Excellent.
Okay. Definitely. I will contact you and we can chat after.
Okay, because we're having 2 students come in January from Western University in Pomona. They're going to do a 4-month project poster presentation, and it's going to somehow involve cannabis. We haven't decided exactly what we're going to do, maybe even possibly some research at our pharmacy. So I'd like to be very connected with you on that.
Okay, and where are you located?
In Los Angeles, Santa Monica, and I've got resident is here, Swathi Varanasi, is sitting right next to me.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Wayne, I see you're unmuted. Do you have anything to say? Wayne Vega, I'm calling you out directly.
And Melanie, I just also wanted to mention about that CE that's happening in Los Angeles.
Yes.
If I could, and that,
Please.
I doubt that someone from San Diego would want to drive up to LA on a Tuesday afternoon, evening, but we are having an exceptional educator from GW Bioscience who's going to speak generically about cannabinoid science for 1 unit of CE. And of course, he is going to present what the pharmaceutical side of cannabinoids are, but through many, many discussions with him, he knows a lot about a lot of sides of cannabis and related products.
Who is that speaker, Pam?
His name is Arash and Safai. I can get you his, I'll type into the chat his name.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, thank you. I might have to get going back into work, but it's been great being on the call with everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Pam. I know the time zones make this difficult. Just wait till we actually go international. It's going to be a nightmare.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that.
Well, we just got our first Canadian member, so that's very exciting. I did have a request I got in the email. We had a student that was planning to do a PGY1 in a cannabis dispensary. And it ended up, the dispensary was like sold, because of course, this is like an industry of mergers and acquisitions, as all of pharmacy is. But now they're looking to see if there's any other dispensary that would be interested in creating the first PGY1, so postgraduate residency. If you are available or interested, feel free to unmute yourself or message me, and I'll get you connected with that student. I guess now he's a pharmacist. I think he's graduated already.
So Melanie, we do have an integrative health residency. It's a non-accredited residency, and cannabis is a huge focus. We're not a dispensary though, no THC, CBD. So I'd love to team up with somebody who's doing a PGY1.
I'll reach out. I know he's done like a lot in, I don't even know what he did. I was like, oh, send me the documents you have. And I haven't heard anything. So I think he's just waiting for a connection. But I'll send that to you directly, Pam, because I know you've got the bandwidth. But if anybody else in a dispensary, I think that's what they were looking for. And I know there's only like 6 states that actually require a pharmacist. And yes, it is Bobby. Ann, you are on top of it. And it sounds like he's reached out to you already. I can like see you typing. So this is so exciting. Yeah. So just goes to show you pharmacy is a very small world. Cannabis pharmacy is even smaller. Very nice. So yes, if anybody's interested in joining our committees, I've already gotten an email. Somebody reached out via LinkedIn, totally fair. Oh, that was your dispensary. So I know your last name wasn't listed, but I know who you are now. No, just kidding. So feel free to reach out if you guys are interested in joining a committee. It's really low maintenance. We typically meet once a quarter and sometimes even less than that. I can tell you we're going to have a separate subcommittee for our certification. So for the Cannabis Conference in Gaylord next year, as well as the certification exam. We're still deciding how we're going to obtain questions. Our committees have already met, and it's a multidisciplinary process. So we have education and professional development, as well as clinical practice and research coming together on this. But I'm hoping we can do some type of compensation. So like you send us a question or whatever, and we'll send you some money back. I mean, we have the funding for it. Everything that we do is by our members and for our members. So I think, honestly, we don't have a lot of income coming in from our non-members. And that's kind of the point. We want to be here for pharmacist members and really, I want to say push our agenda, but push our mission forward. And Pam just sent in the group chat. So if you guys can see it, it kind of is like a yellow button. Oh, excellent. She sent the Eventbrite. So it's free to register, but you do want to make sure it is only live. So I wish it was recorded. I'll teach you how to do that. But that's with GW, who's obviously leading the Epidiolex spring of CBD that's coming into the pharmacies. All right. Anybody else have any comments or thoughts? This is like the most effective annual meeting I've ever had. Thanks to you all.
Hi, my name is Samantha, and I'm a new member, and I'm actually in a state that doesn't require pharmacists to be in the dispensary, and it's kind of hard to break into the industry and I know our Board of Pharmacy is definitely all about education, but I just don't know how to go about really breaking into it.
That is a good question. What state are you in before you get yourself off mute?
I'm from New Mexico.
Very nice. So I reached out to a few of our students out there. I'm blanking on their name right now, but there's two of them that I can think of in particular. And
one of them is probably Shanice.
Yes.
Yeah, I went to high school with her.
Adorable. You just dated yourself. Just kidding. So yeah, that is a huge issue. And they also tried to create a student society down there. And something, I don't know, my pharmacy school didn't have this, but it's like every organization is under one umbrella. So they're like, just partner with like the, local ISCPh or APHA version or whatever chapter they're called. But they weren't able to get it off the ground. So I'm not sure how to best recommend it. From my perspective, I find a lot of the states that are implementing new rules are looking at, hey, we have this group of educated healthcare professionals. Why don't we just get them who already, manage controlled substances to manage cannabis as well? I would recommend reaching out to your Board of Pharmacy. Have you done that already? Sorry, I keep making you go off and on mute.
No problem. Yeah, I have reached out to them, and I even asked if they'd be open to having a pharmacist actually work in the dispensaries because it's very touchy. And they actually said they can't tell us where we can work, but they're all about education. Very, very vague. So I'm guessing that we can't really touch it. We can't dispense it because that's still a federal offense. So
yeah,
that's all I've gotten from them.
What's your current role? Are you doing consulting or anything?
I was in managed care, but I'm actually in between right now, trying to figure out what exactly I want to do. But cannabis is definitely a huge interest of mine.
It's natural. We used to dispense it 80 years ago.
Definitely.
Say that right. I'm going to call out Shane. Shane, if you can hear me, I want to know what you've been doing with Traverse RX, I think. Got me?
Yep, that's it. So I've taken a little bit more of a do first and ask forgiveness later approach. Mostly because I'm only doing cognitive services. So, not being in the dispensary, not touching THC, there's not, from my perspective, any kind of, like you said, Samantha, they're all about education. So I'm educating patients, I'm providing a safety feature for them, helping them to use it safely and effectively, looking for drug interactions, those kinds of things. So, I can't really say what the board would say about what I'm doing, but I don't think they'd have a problem. They inspected one of the pharmacies I was in recently, so nothing came up then.
And Shane is in Colorado. I don't remember if you said that, but so also I think a little bit more free in their dispensing of cannabis versus New Mexico, where it is still a medical model. I would also recommend, if you haven't already, there's usually like a pocket of certifying providers that do most, if not all, of the recommendations. So reaching out to them and seeing if there's an opportunity to collaborate. It's my vision that pharmacists are out of the pharmacies and in the doctor's offices. I think that would be more effective, and not only in reducing harm, but actually educating on medicine. We don't have enough time in the pharmacies, but that was just my lonely experience. I actually reached out to the Board of Pharmacy in Minnesota, and I asked them, I'm like, hey, I want to do consulting directly with patients for cannabis. Do I need like a PLLC, so like a professional LLC, to put my license on the line? Because technically, drug education, providing recommendations, that's like a pharmacist's role. And they're like, you could, but you don't have to. They also offered me to open up a limited service pharmacy. I'm like, oh, okay. So I could pay like, $500 for an application for nothing. Great. Such bureaucracy. But my state of Minnesota doesn't require a PLLC to provide like clinical consulting services. So see what New Mexico requires. If it's just an LLC, that's a lot cheaper to do. But it's just something to consider if you are looking to get ahead in that regard. And I don't know of any other New Mexico pharmacists doing that, so you might be the first.
That's great news, and that's awesome information. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Shane, thank you for that. I've been meaning to check in with you, so that was perfect timing. All right. Anyone else want to chat or anything like that? Because I'm all excited to plan this conference now. Like, what goodie bags are we going to have? Who's going to sponsor the bag? Cool. Well, I'm going to sign us off here. Again, don't ever hesitate to reach out via email. On LinkedIn, we do have a Cannabis Pharmacist group. It's always listed in our newsletter. There's a direct link to join. You do need to request, but we usually approve it pretty quickly. And it's just a way to stay connected. I know we're always connected with social media, but being able to ask the right questions and to the right people, I think, is more of an art than a science. So we're here to stay connected. Be on the lookout for our next CE. And then today, I'm going to do this right now, right when I sign off, I'm going to add the pediatric journal club that it's not pediatric, I'm so sorry. It's functional MRIs. And that's going to be with Stacy Gruber. Cool. Thank you everyone for joining us. Have a beautiful evening and happy Thanksgiving.